And we say welcome to Mr. Nico Kleynhans. Thank you so much for coming into studio this morning, sir.
Good morning to you and to the listeners.
So, Nico, recently you had to deal with a question, and the question was this. I'm a pensioner. How do we fund our future medical needs? Do we rely on the existing government system? Will the proposed NHI make things easier? And then, of course, when it comes to medical aid, it's so expensive. And while the new online medical plans seem cheap, what are the pitfalls?
Yes, this hit me hard, this particular question, because it's one that is on the minds of just about everybody right now. And it's not something I can deal with entirely today, but I think it's a question that does need much more debate than is happening right now. And for me, the trigger was about 2 weeks ago, where a friend of mine, and we've known each other for more than 50 years, he had a heart attack and he was rushed off to Groote Schuur Hospital. And for 4 days, we knew nothing because we weren't allowed to visit. We knew he wasn't in the ward where he was supposed to be treated, and his family couldn't visit either. So
That's
there
traumatic.
was a lot of trauma around whether he was going to survive and whether he was going to be okay. Now, I hadn't been to Groote Schuur Hospital for over 30 years, and when I was there, it was a very different Groote Schuur to what it is today. And anyway, when I was there as a chaplain for about 2 weeks doing a course as a chaplain with some Franciscan clergy. So even then, my experience of the hospital was very different. I wasn't there as a visitor as such, and I had a very different relationship to the social workers and the staff while I was there. So when I finally got back to Groote Schuur Hospital, I found that it was very difficult to find my way around. I couldn't work out where to park.
Yeah.
And from the moment I parked to the moment I entered the hospital took 45 minutes.
Sure.
Because I couldn't find parking. Then when I was out of parking, I couldn't work out how to get out of the parking space onto the road because now you're underground.
That's it.
And when you get out of the parking bay, you can't find staff who can direct you to where you need to be. I tried 4 different staff. I knew the ward where I had to go to, but they didn't know where the ward was.
In the hospital. My goodness.
And it didn't help that I had to go to what was called the pediatric ward. Now, I know pediatric means children.
Exactly.
And my friend was 65. And
so
he was
definitely not classified as a child.
So I was confused what he was doing in a pediatric ward as somebody who'd had a heart attack. Well, it clarified itself later. There were so many people who'd have heart attacks at Groote Schuur. They had to clear out the kids, move them somewhere else, and this ward had not been renamed.
Oh, wow.
So that was the mystery that was finally solved.
That, yeah.
But there was also only 2 lifts that could get you to the actual ward.
And I've experienced that at that very hospital.
So I finally got there, and when I got there, my friend was unconscious because he just had a procedure and he had lost so much weight and he was connected up, and I was traumatized at that moment in time. And then in an instant, I had an experience that changed everything because the nursing sister saw my expression. And she realized that I was being traumatized by what I saw. And she came to me and she said, well, let me explain what we've just done.
Okay.
And she explained what the procedure was. She explained why they had done that procedure. She explained what the result of that procedure was. She explained what treatment would now follow. And I realized that all I was needing right then was some assurance that somebody cared about what had happened to my friend. It did not matter that that was a government hospital. or a private hospital or the most expensive private hospital in the world. What I needed to know was that the patient in that bed was getting care.
Yeah.
And at that moment in time, I realized that that was going to happen for my friend.
Just puts you at ease, eh?
That was what I needed to know. And so for those of you who are worried about where you're going to go, what you're really asking for is, am I going to be cared for wherever I get placed? You're not really concerned about which hospital ultimately it's going to be. You're saying, will the medical staff care? And on that day, with that nursing sister, she showed me that in that ward, those staff do care, and they're doing the best I can. So, for that moment in time, the logic overtook my fear.
Yeah.
And that's really all I'm needed to know. So I accept that healthcare is an emotive issue. And I accept this question is important. And I want to deal with it in far greater detail. So I want to ask, if you have any experience or anything you want to contribute, please put that in writing to questions@northwood.co.za. In the next show that we do with Wayne, we will have 45 minutes. And then I want to deal with this question again, deal with the various options, and try and help those who have these questions to find better solutions than I'm able to deal with today. But it is an important question.
So
and it is one that deserves a more comprehensive answer.
So with regard to that, that'll also be live on radio and then also captured on video, because that's how Wayne rolls. He's great like that. And we will make sure to get the details of the broadcast ahead of the time in the morning of that evening broadcast. We will make an announcement on this platform to let you know about that specific 45-minute program that'll be going out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that'll be so great. Nico, thank you so much. So good to chat to you as always. And again, if you are in the medical field and you've got something that you can add to the conversation, if you've got an anecdote that you can share, questions@northwood.co.za. Thank you for your time, Nico.